Hello and welcome to A Cup of Conversation on BRT TV. My name is John Ghazi, I'm your host once again, and in the studio today I have a brand new friend. Now we have a man who has been living here on the island for a few years, originally from the UK, and he contacted us via our Facebook page for Brighton National Radio, and he is a new author talking about My Being with Beings. So my guest on the programme today is Leon J. Morris. So first of all, Leon, welcome to the programme.
Thank you for having me.
I want to say thank you for reaching out to us via social media, via Facebook and our Brighton National Radio page. It's nice to know that people are actually using that to contact people. But let's find out more about you. You are actually, in fact, a teacher, aren't you? A PE teacher at a local school here.
That's right, yeah.
And you are originally from the UK. Whereabouts from the UK are you from originally?
Well, originally I was born in North Wales, lived there till I was about 5, and then mostly throughout my childhood I grew up in the East End of London.
You're a Londoner then, really?
London boy.
London boy. And you've been here in Cyprus for how long now? How many years?
It's 6 years this month.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 6 years, a long time.
Yes.
So now you're slightly Cypriot as well as being a Londoner.
I guess half Cypriot now.
You're living in the Guinea area, or just outside Guinea, and as I said, you're a PE teacher at a local school. But you're here today to talk about your book, which is very new, My Being with Beings. And in fact, when I read the book, you're talking about experiences that you had earlier this year. So when was this book actually published?
It was at the beginning of the summer this year, a few months ago. It's done quite well since being released. So I'm really pleased with how it's going.
Right, now this is a very interesting subject, although one that I'm not very familiar with, because I can't say that I'm very spiritual, but I know lots of people are, and we're in a world now, I think in the year 2019, more and more of us are turning to our spiritual sides. But you have a very interesting story. The book begins with a bit about your past, your childhood, and I don't want to dwell on that too much. I want the readers to find out more, or the viewers who are watching now who will get your book to find out more. But you've actually discovered, maybe later on in life, that you have a very strong spiritual side that we all have, you believe, but you actually connected to your spiritual side via meditation.
Yeah, that's right. Initially, I did have a few experiences when I was a child that I wasn't too keen on, shall we say. I found it a little bit disconcerting. But when I moved to Cyprus, I rediscovered a spiritual side to myself, mainly thanks to my wife Julia, who introduced me to the ability to see energy, which is all around us. And also to delve more into the spiritual side of meditation, because I had used meditation in the past more for stress management and anger management issues than anything else, which I found very, very helpful. And that's how it all started for me, certainly in the last 6 years.
It is a very interesting story, and in fact we have to blame Julia for your presence here, because actually Julia was here and you met, didn't you? And then you came out to Cyprus.
That's right, yeah. We actually went to high school together and we were friends at school. When we were 16, we went our separate ways. We lost touch and we lived our lives. 21 years later, she commented on a photo of me on Facebook. We'd become friends on Facebook but never actually chatted. And one thing led to another. We developed a relationship on Skype, and after much pursuing, she eventually allowed me to come and visit her in Cyprus. And when I did, it was literally the best thing I ever did. Within 2 days, I knew that this is the woman I'm going to marry. So, and it all went from there.
You knew that she was the one for you,
yes,
and also that you would leave your life back in the UK and come to live in Cyprus. That's a bigger decision as well.
It was, you know, things were going quite well for me back in England. I was becoming quite a successful personal trainer. I was doing well financially and working very hard to do it. So I was really running on empty most of the time, which wasn't a main motivating factor for me coming. It just felt like the right thing to do. And as we all know, money isn't everything. Love is.
Yeah, that's a good way of summarising that. I want to ask you, you said you were a personal trainer, so obviously you are a man involved with sport. What's your actual day job, shall we say? I mean, what was your profession back in the UK before you came here?
So I had many jobs, but for the last, I'd say around 17 years, 18 years, I've been in fitness, coaching, working one-to-one and with groups as well. I've worked with young athletes, also helping them to develop to a higher level, developing certain skill sets within their sports, different sports like hockey, rugby, football, tennis, even a friend of mine who was a baseball pitcher. I did some strength and conditioning work with him. So it was a really, interesting and fulfilling job, which I felt like that could have been my purpose in life, to be able to help people as I was once helped many years ago by a very special guy who helped me to actually lose a lot of weight. Back in my early 20s, I was very overweight, and we became friends. He helped me to lose 4 stone in 8 months.
Wow.
And changed my life for the better. And for that, I'll always be grateful.
Amazing. So your life has changed from a young Leon to the adult Leon now that we see today.
Yes.
I'm sure maybe people who knew you back then probably wouldn't even recognise you or won't recognise you now.
Not even close.
Not even close. Well, I don't know. I know the Leon that I've met today and who I've read about in the book, My Being with Beings. So even though you had a few experiences in your youth, meditation and maybe having some, maybe, I don't know how you would call them, experiences that were not regular, things that we have every day. It wasn't until later on in life that you decided that actually, you have a more intuitive side, that you can meditate and maybe go on to a different level. So when was the first time that you started tapping into this power or this energy?
So not long after I moved to Cyprus, Julia and myself would meditate. She was already a very spiritual person and into all that kind of thing. So she guided me through the early stages. Then I went to see a medium on the island who has many, many years of experience. And at the end of the reading, she said to me that I did have a strong psychic ability and she'd like me to develop it. So she invited me along to the psychic circle that she conducts. To help teach me how to work on that ability, to delve deeper into it. And so it went from there. I attended the circle for just over 2 years, which really helped to develop my ability, and it's gone from strength to strength.
It certainly has gone from strength to strength because you've written a book about all your experiences. Going back to meditation, when you meditate, because you make it sound so easy, I mean, it's like switching on and switching off, like a light bulb. But obviously, once you know how to do it. But when you were first meditating with your wife, Julia, was it just to, as you said before, maybe to calm, to relax, to get rid of any stress or anger? I mean, is that how you began? Just a sort of like as a calmness or something that was anti what you were normally doing during the day?
Yeah, because when I came to Cyprus, I actually had the time to do it.
Yeah.
When I was in England, I was, working 60, 70 hours a week. I was running on empty for a long time, and Julia helped me to find the time and the motivation to do it, and as I said, gave me that guidance initially. So it was, as Julia often says, to help fill up my love tank, because it had been running on empty for a long time. And that's how it began for me to develop. And then it just went deeper and deeper as I tapped into this dormant ability which lay within me. Really what I would say to people is anybody can meditate, anybody. And it all just starts with breathing. Finding time in the day to just sit in a calm, peaceful and quiet place and take time to just breathe. Focus on your breathing. Feel the breath going in and going out of your body. And just relax and be in that moment for 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever you can do, whatever you can put aside for yourself. And that's where, back in the day, it began for me.
in a way then, Cyprus allowed you to have that lifestyle where you could fit in meditation. As you were saying, you're working quite long hours in the UK, which a lot of people do when they're working, 9 to 5 all the time, or even more than 9 to 5. But Cyprus gave you that sort of lifestyle where you could take time out to do your breathing, your meditation. And in fact, I mean, there are a lot of people, I'm meeting more and more people now who are coming on my program, who are guests on the shows here at BRT, where it's either to do with, breathing techniques, meditation, yoga, tapping into your inner self, finding inner peace. And it sounds like a lot of people are getting a good feeling from this. Obviously, people are getting a good feeling, they're continuing with it, but a lot of people, who thought they wouldn't be involved with this are doing it now. I mean, did you ever think that you'd be sitting here in North Cyprus in a TV studio talking about your book, My Being with Beings?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. I mean, many years ago, I wasn't even a believer. I didn't believe in any of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I was just living life, doing my thing.
Yeah.
And trying to sort of get somewhere in life, I suppose, So I never really had time to give this much thought. But when I came here, I did have a sabbatical. And so that helped to give me the time to do that. And then not long after I'd arrived, less than a year, my son came along. So I became very busy again.
Fantastic.
Well, which was a wonderful kind of busy.
Yeah.
But I still had that time to meditate because he was a good baby.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very good, baby. Very good. If you have the time to meditate with a young boy at home, then you're lucky.
I was very lucky.
You're very lucky. I would normally ask, why did you write this book? Because you said to me as we were preparing for this interview that you never used to even read books that much, never mind write a book. This is your first literary experience with My Being with Beings. But I actually know why you write the book, because in the book, your experiences tell you that you should share the knowledge that you've experienced. And I don't want to go into too much detail because I want people to buy your book or to come and meet you in person, because you've got a book signing coming up very shortly, very soon. But from what I understand from the book is that, you are experiencing different levels, out-of-body experiences, first of all, then meeting with other beings. It's all about energy, and in a way it's giving you calmness, because what I feel from this book is that maybe you learn not to be frightened of death, even because death is just the death of the physical body, but there's energy within us that will go on to another level, another plane.
Yeah.
This is just one, and in fact it seems that we're quite inferior to the other beings who have gone on to higher levels. We seem to be just learning about this now on this level, but it's very useful. It's not a difficult read. You don't have to even, like I said, I'm not really knowledgeable about meditation or the source or the energy, but it was a book that I thought flowed very well in a very easy manner. Was that deliberate so that everyone could join your experiences?
It was deliberate, so that I'd be able to understand it, let alone anybody else, and the way that it came together was wonderful, really. And often we say that if it feels jagged or forced, or it doesn't flow in some way, then it's not meant from spirit. But if you feel like something is flowing, if it feels correct to you, if it does flow like the book flows, then it's from spirit. And that's very important, to take with you. So, yeah.
You talk about reincarnation. Mm-hmm. Obviously, because we think of death as being the end, or most people do, or some people do, but we're talking about energy. You also feel that reincarnation, that you've been here before in Cyprus, and you actually were in Salamis, weren't you?
Yeah.
And you got this
times.
in Roman times. So did you pay a visit to Salamis?
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
Yeah.
Lovely place. I was fortunate enough when I attended the Psychic Circle to take part in some past life regression sessions, and there's been numerous lives that I've discovered so far, and there may well be more. But yeah, one of them was in Cyprus in Roman times. I believe that I was a military man of some description, and
But isn't it funny though that you come back here again? You know, the amazing coincidence, or maybe it's not coincidence, maybe you were meant to be here, but the fact that, you know, your life, that you met up with Julia again on social media and then you came to Cyprus, and so it just seems so like it all fits in together like a piece of the puzzle. Is that how it's meant to be? Do you believe that things happen for a reason?
I do, and although we may not be able to see where the journey is taking us, the journey is there regardless. And you'll find that at times in your physical experience, in your life, that you will come full circle. And there is always a purpose to that. And my purpose was to be able to take what I'd experienced in my previous lives and actually learn from them and put it into practice in this life. In previous lives that I talk about in the book, I had an opportunity for receiving information, but I didn't share it, and often I died before I could share that information or learn the lessons that I needed to. And so in this life, I feel very fortunate to have had the aha moment that I had a year or two ago, to understand my purpose in this life and to begin to fulfill it in some way.
You're very eloquent at speaking, and obviously you're not shy of speaking in front of people because you're a teacher. So, you know, you have those faces looking at you all the time and watching you. And even though you said off air that you were quite a shy person initially, but why a book? What was the inspiration for you to put your experiences down onto paper?
Well, there came a point in my experience that I had to ask myself a question. Do I believe what is happening? Am I on board with it, or am I not? And I answered that question and decided to move forward with this experience. After that time, I was sat in meditation, and Spirit gave me a message where they said that you would write a book. And I almost burst out laughing at that point, because anyone that knows me very well knows that I would struggle to write an essay, let alone a book. You know, I was always more of a gym body, shall we say.
Yeah.
So I trusted Spirit, and I trusted the message that I received in meditation. They said write a book, so I did.
And so did the words just flow out then? I mean,
yeah.
How does one start writing when they haven't, you know, you say you couldn't even write an essay before, never mind write a book that is now going to be on the bookshelves here in the TRNC. I mean, did it just come naturally for you? Did you start?
Yeah.
It just flew out?
There were some meditations that I'd already written down throughout the last several years. So some of them went into the book, so I just had to type them up. And then at other times I would go deep into meditation and connect with Spirit, and I would use this technique called automatic writing, which is where you'll sit in meditation with a pen and paper, and then you'll allow Spirit to give you the information, to connect with you and allow the words to come. And sometimes that would be writing, sometimes it would be typing, and at other times my wife would be sat in meditation with me, and I tend to have this ability to go into trance and do trance meditation, where a being will connect with me. I will allow them to speak through me, and they will give the information and the messages. I will speak. They will use my voice box to allow the words to come out, and Julia will write them down for me. So that's another way that the words came to be and went into the book. So it was definitely all Spirit-led, and it did feel, like I mentioned earlier, it flowed, it felt right.
Yeah.
And so that's why it went into the book.
Your descriptions are very vivid as you go into meditation and you interact with other beings, and you've described it. And in fact, we have a few illustrations in the book, which you have also shared as bookmarks. And we'd like to say a big hello and a thank you to, is it Anne? What's her surname?
Yeah, our dear friend Anne Tatham, who's in Karakum.
Yeah.
She's a wonderful artist that brought these images to life from the descriptions that I received in meditation, and she did an amazing job. So we're very grateful to Anne.
So obviously you had a great description, but when you saw these, did you say, yes, this is what I saw?
Immediately.
Immediately.
She brought them to life in such a way that they just popped off the page at me, and I was like, yes, that's it, we got it.
As I said, you know, this to me is quite distant because I've never meditated or never had any experiences like this, but it's amazing that you've brought everything together. The underlying message, whether people understand what you've gone through and your journey so far, the message in the book is very, very simple but important. It's all about love and just basically accepting that whatever happens, happens, that we can go onto a different plane, that it's not the end when we pass away, and to be happy and content in our lives. Because I mean, at that moment, we're living the life that we're living now, and that's all we have to go on. You've had the opportunity to go on to a different level. But what I understand as a normal person reading your book is that, you know, love and share that love and just be content with what is going on around you. I mean, what is the message that you think we should be getting from this book? Or do you want people to just come away with their own messages?
Well, I've shared this information, as I say in the book, for people to do with what they will. For me, there's a few themes that seem to run through the book. As you mentioned, love. Also, the fact that we're not alone, ever. Even if everyone around you has fallen away and you find yourself standing there physically alone, feeling emotionally alone, I'm very keen for people to understand that actually you're not. You never have been, you're not, and you never will be. I've taken that lesson from my own personal experiences in this life.
Mm-hmm.
And also to help to remove fear. Fear is an ego-driven emotion, and I find a lot of us can be driven by fear, by the choices that we make are out of fear. The experiences we have can sometimes be out of fear. And as someone who has faced death and had a close call myself, I was fortunate enough to have had these experiences which removed my fear of death. I never truly believed that I was going to die that day. And I'm so grateful for that experience.
Yeah.
I went to the surgical room alone after having to say goodbye to my wife and my baby son. But I wasn't alone because I knew they were with me.
Yeah.
Spirit beings, whatever you want to call them. The important point is I didn't feel alone, and I'd love for other people to be able to receive that love and understanding that actually there's nothing to be afraid of. You are loved and you are worthy of that love, and as I said, you are not, you never have been, and you never will be alone.
That is a beautiful message, Leon, that I think we can all get from the book. Whether it's something that you believe in or not, whether you think that there are other beings out there, you've certainly experienced it and you've shared it, and that's your point of view. And it's up to us whether we accept that or whether we take our own point of view and make something else out of it. But love and understanding and not feeling alone, very important. I think, you know, in the 21st century, however much we're surrounded by people at the moment, we can sometimes feel that desperation of loneliness. And to feel that, you know, we are not alone and that we are worthy of love when we are loved, it's an amazing experience. It is it's a genuine, really down-to-earth book of your experiences. And I think well done for putting down your experiences so eloquently in My Being with Beings. And I would like to mention now to our viewers that you have a book signing coming up. at the Bestseller Bookshop in Alsancak. Now, this is going to be on October the 19th between 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Normally, I think of Karakum as the book signing place, but you're actually doing it in Alsancak at the newly opened shop, aren't you?
That's right, yeah.
And it says here, it's a great opportunity to purchase the fantastic debut book by local author Leon J. Morris. We invite you to join us for a live reading by Leon, who will be available to, for an question and answer session. And of course, to sign your copy for you, there'll be lots going on that day. So everyone's invited to the official book launch. Now, this is interesting. You told me that your age is 43 and that you have 43 copies of the book.
Yes. That's right.
Any special reason for this, or just for fun?
Just for fun. I wasn't sure how many I should bring over, and so I just said, you know what, let's do 43. So that's what I went ahead with, and if people do come along and are not able to purchase a copy and get it signed, I will be doing more book signings in future, where people will have more opportunity to purchase the book, and if they don't want to wait, they can go on to Amazon and order a paperback copy if they wish, or a digital copy on the Kindle ebook store.
Excellent. And just one final question. Will there be more books in the future, do you think?
I believe so. I have a feeling that I'll begin work on something again soon, possibly by the end of this year or the beginning of next year, all being well.
I can just imagine more interactions with the beings that you have already interacted with, maybe even meeting more new beings out there, more energy sources, more of positivity, more love. I think that's what we all need, Leon. But I want to say thank you for coming in today to the programme.
Thank you.
And for sharing all this information. Good luck with the book signing on the 19th of October.
Thank you very much.
And I just wish you all the best. Thank you for being so honest with everyone. It's not easy to have gone through all that you've gone through and to come out so positive at the end. But I think that, you know, you have great energy with you. I think people are looking out for you there. So I'm so glad that you've got a lovely life here with your beautiful family here in North Cyprus. And I hope that you'll stay here for many more years.
MashaAllah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming in, Leon, and for joining us today. And with that, we've ended our very interesting chat with Leon Morris, who is the author of his debut book, My Being with Beings, and the official book signing at the Alsancak Bestseller Bookstore is on October 19th between 12 and 2 p.m. Thank you for watching. I hope you've been inspired. Until next week, take care. Bye-bye.